Everyone, welcome to the Envelopes Emmy Contender Series. I'm already laughing. I'm Yvonne Villarreal, and today we're talking to Jerrod Carmichael, the co-creator and star of the NBC comedy, The Carmichael Show. And we'll be taking your questions as well, so shoot them over in our comment section.
Oh man, is this the internet? Hey internet. The internet's scary.
Why?
Because it's everybody's out there and they're really comfortable and they're really judgmental.
How often are you on the internet?
I mean, we're all on it constantly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you're constantly on it, but I don't really go to social media a lot. You know, just because there's a lot of thoughts. It's a lot of thoughts.
A lot of thoughts
coming at your face really fast.
So not to already jump into season 3, but you were tweeting the premiere on the Carmichael Show account, right?
I was tweeting the premiere. It was my first time on Twitter in a while. It was really fun. I was just like live tweeting and just saying, yeah, it was fun. It's overwhelming.
Okay.
It's a lot. The internet
lot.
is a lot. It's insane the amount of information we get every second. Is kind of crazy.
Is there a site?
There's no way you could pay attention to your children and have a Twitter account. You just can't do both. You can't have a Twitter account and pay attention to your children. You got to choose.
Do you ban it in the writer's room?
No. I mean, people can do what they want,
Interesting.
But it's just hard. It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the last time we spoke, we were on the Golden Globe stage.
We had fun there.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
You were accepting your award to nothing.
And now we're here. Yeah, it was my award to nothing. I gave my speech that was like asking celebrities to stop weighing in on politics.
Yes.
And
I don't know if they listen. Now we're here.
Now we're here, and it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh my God, who told you that?
You think I don't know Yvonne's birthday?
Wait, who told you that? Thank
birthday
you.
To you.
Thank you. This is my birthday gift.
No, you deserve better.
I thought you were going to come with an infomercial thing or something you just bought.
Oh, just a thing. Oh, yeah, because we're talking about, no, what did I see recently? Sometimes I go to YouTube and I look at the classics. You know, the Ron Popeils,
you search out the infomercials?
The Jack LaLanne's,
nice.
First year George Foreman. Not that new stuff, not that new.
Not the new stuff,
not
the
that
classics.
new flat, with the glass dome.
Yeah,
I'm talking first year slant, lean, mean, fat reducing grilling machine.
I'm going to invite, when I get married, you're invited, and I just want to see what you bring as a gift.
Oh, yeah. It'll be a toaster.
It'll be a toaster.
My kid. It's a toaster.
Well, let's talk about season 2. Do you even remember season 2? Is it hard to keep track?
It's sometimes a blur because I'll hold on to every script in my head.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of writers are like this where you just kind of, everything is a layer and so you just add another. So I'll say something and I'm like, oh wait, that's from like season 1, episode 5.
Right.
And just like it's all kind of layered in there, yeah.
But is there an episode in particular that stuck out either to you or that you got a lot of feedback on?
This season?
Season 2.
Oh, season 2 was
because you had you did the Cosby, you had the Trump.
Cosby was probably the one that people had the biggest response to and responded to the most. It was.
Were you shocked by that or not really?
No, I mean it was a thing that was talked about and no one had talked about it, especially in a half-hour comedy at that point. So. It was fun. It was really fun to just do it. I mean, I kind of talked about it on stage, and it was fun to just do, in the show.
Was that the only one that got a lot of feedback?
That was the biggest one of that season. I think this season will be, it's a few episodes, I think, kind of like that, but that was the biggest one. What was the other one last year? Oh, Trump.
Trump,
that's right. We did one on Trump in April, because I knew he was going to win.
Because at what point did you decide in the writing process, we need to do one on Trump and it needs to be the finale?
We kind of rebelled against it. If I can't, what I wanted to do, and it was going to be the only thing we were going to shoot single cam.
Oh.
I wanted, it was still at this time where I don't even think Trump thought he could win. I think it was this time where it was just like, I think it was all just like kind of a marketing thing. And then I wanted to shoot Joe meeting Trump, just at a rally, and Trump shaking his hand. And I was trying to get him on the show, and everybody was like, no, you can't have Trump on because, people feel strongly about that type of stuff. And
I don't even know how you would ask him. Would
we
you
reached out to the campaign.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and I just thought it would be like a weird thing to just have Trump shake a character's hand and like the character become enamored with the power of a politician. You know what I mean? Like the power of that, you know, and getting distracted by that. And that was kind of the first approach in.
What did the campaign say?
Hard no? It was like a scheduling thing. I don't know if it. Oh no, it's because we are on the network television and the fair time.
Right.
So we couldn't just have the way like SNL had to have Trump and Hillary, and he couldn't even be in the whole episode because of time and stuff.
Time
so
issue.
It was a thing like that. But yeah, we're gonna do it.
Were there any topics or issues that you guys for season 2 had to drop because you just couldn't find your way around it? You didn't know if you could do a full episode or it just wasn't meshing well?
I guess I could say that Ari had this idea. He wanted to do an episode about a non-practicing pedophile moving next door. And and he was a pedophile. He admitted that he was a pedophile and he was plagued by this sickness. But he hadn't practiced, and he thought by talking about it was like from just like kind of NPR, I think This American Life perhaps, and he was just like having it move next door to a family and just kind of weird that up. But
and then what happened?
That's a surprising hard one to crack. It was a surprise, right? You would think whoever we all have rich material on. But we did. We did, but it was just figuring out the story. Figuring out stakes was the difficult thing in that one. Like, because it's like, we could just, we try not to do that where you're just throwing jokes at a thing. We wanted to, it needs to have some type of stake involved with our characters. And yeah.
Well, and doing stand-up, there's an element of acting that goes into it, right? I mean, you're up
I'm sorry, I think I just solved the episode. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to zone out. No, I got it. I know what we could have done.
What would you have done?
I can't just because we've been.
You're gonna do season 4?
Or use it for something. But like right when you started the question, I was like, aha!
This is why you need to carry a notebook with you.
I usually do. I gotta. Oh man.
Do you want to stop?
Don't let me forget.
Okay.
Don't let me forget. Just
all right,
like non-practicing pedophiles. Just somebody yelling at me later, and I'll say, no, I'm not. But we're writing a thing.
Let's say that louder in a newsroom.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like that's a rich story.
People are gonna come with a notebook. But there's an element to acting when you're doing stand-up. But how would you say that's different when you're actually doing it on a soundstage with people? And did you feel like you couldn't be as loose, or did you bring that element to it?
I play it just really, partly because of levels and because of like, it's like jazz and you're all kind of playing an instrument, right? So I'm kind of a steady. I don't really. In the show, I'm probably more animated and real in my actual life than on the show. I'm kind of play it really. Subtle, real low key because we have so many instruments. Yeah. And it's just like, and I just need to play a role in a position. You kind of look at what, Seinfeld would do or Roseanne would do in like a lot of stand-ups, and it's easy to want to just jump into your act, but I think you practice a little bit of restraint.
Was there a particular episode in season 2 that you felt challenged in the acting part, or?
There's one coming up where character Jerrod was in a mall that had a shooter. So it was like a mass shooting, and that was, kind of trying to find the emotion in that. It was around me, and that one was a fun one to actually find some emotion and harness it, and that was probably the biggest challenge for me. But a lot of it, like, I, again, kind of play goalie a little bit, in the show. So, it's, you watch the performances of like David and Loretta. They can just move you to tears just being next to them. On that show, they are so amazing. And Amber grounds everything, and Rel is so funny, and Tiffany's this like spark of light, and so everyone has this position.
Would you say that the viewpoints that Jerrod, the character, has on the show are usually the viewpoints that you have, or do you try to mix it up? Like,
I kind of disperse, like, sometimes I'll have two on the show, and it won't even be me. Danielle, our showrunner, is always at the end of writing a lot of episodes. She'll look at me and it's like, wait, you have nothing to say. We'll give it to David or Loretta or Amber or Rel or Tiffany, and I like to spread it out. And sometimes it's like an argument where I share, a few perspectives on the show, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. A lot of my stand-up is about dichotomies and the duality of emotion. And so a lot of times it is an argument that I have in stand-up, and it translates well to the show, I think.
Has there been a time where one of the actors doesn't feel comfortable with the viewpoint that their character has, or feels like, I don't know if I want to say this?
Loretta gets nervous a little bit. They are always usually excited. The biggest thing, and that's why I love them as actors so much, is if it's any question, it's the clarity, the clarification of why they feel this way or why they're saying this. It's not that they mind saying it. It's just like it may not be as clear in the writing as it needs to be, and so they'll call us out on it before anything. So they hold you really accountable to the perspective of the character.
I'm like wondering like what character I can play and the words that you can put into my mouth when I'm in there.
Ooh, it'll be fun.
Do you like having guest stars?
You're so likable.
Yeah.
You're really likable, so it'd be fun to just write.
Have me say the worst things.
I'm sorry, I don't know, but that's what like Loretta is so fun to write, because Loretta's voice is just so sweet and loving. Like I think like she plays like a character on a children's cartoon because of how sweet her voice is, like this lovable character,
right?
And just to have her say the
worst,
most heinous things.
Well, are your friends and family like afraid to share their viewpoints now in front of you because they think this might end up on the show?
No, nothing. The great thing about my family is that nothing can stop them from sharing their viewpoint. Like there is nothing that would make them fearful of doing it. They'll say it. They'll stand behind it. One of my biggest fears, if I like ran for office, my biggest fear would be my father having a camera in front of his face. Or my mom, kind of, for that, because they're very honest. Oh, it would just destroy my campaign. It would destroy everything.
Everything?
Yeah. It was like,
now I want it to happen.
Oh, it'd be insane. But just this black dude from the South that's seen some, he just put a camera in his face. No, I'm not saying I disagree with the Jews. I'm just saying, like, okay, Dad.
Had you ever thought about putting them into the show, sort of like Aziz Ansari did? Well, they are?
Well, but they played the background in it. Yeah, I didn't give them roles. They've been in, like, my parents have been in 2 episodes. They were in an episode in season 2. They're in the episode where we say like 6 times. They're in that one. I should say the N-word, and my apologies to the internet.
That's my segue,
when I was on
I guess.
I got called 18 times a day on the internet.
You can only say it 6 on NBC.
We all do. We all get called. Okay.
Well, this was not the segue I was looking for.
Am I destroying it? Am I ruining your birthday? I don't want to ruin your birthday.
Well, I was going to ask, like, now I don't know how to get into this.
Just jump in. Let's just jump in.
Put it all out there. But, like, do you find that you're just do you feel like there's so much going on right now that you're constantly writing something, check back on this for season 4, like this is something? No,
you kind of don't know, until it just kind of hits you. It's really the things that you get really excited by. Like usually it's like an idea comes in like at least a cold open. I can see a cold open around the thing. If I have like an idea, it's like, oh, I know exactly. It just kind of pours out. So I usually don't kind of check a thing. It's like either it's ready or it's not. So usually we'll just kind of let it just go throughout the day.
So when this Bill Maher situation when this Bill Maher situation happened, did you feel like, oh, he's unknowingly helping me promote
yeah, kind of, right?
this episode.
A little bit.
A
Yeah,
little
a little
bit.
bit. It is promo because it's the discussion around the word and our reaction to it's very interesting. You know, my job as a comedian is to be this observer of life and culture, and it's fun to just watch people respond and feel really strongly and have these great arguments and to feel passionately. My family had a real discussion about it, not just on the show, but yesterday at breakfast. We were just, my actual family was just around the table talking about it and talking about how we feel about it and how we, our genuine reaction versus what our reaction in public is, which is very interesting. And so, yeah, it's all heavy.
What was your thoughts when it happened? Were you like,
yeah, I mean,
or you're just not shocked by it anymore?
First of all, I just didn't think the joke was good.
Yeah. You're like, at least let the joke be good.
It's like Seinfeld says about in that episode, just like, you know, I'm not offended as a Jew, I'm offended as a comedian. You know, and like the same thing as Chappelle said about the Michael Richards thing of just like, you know, as a comic, I was like, man, he's having a rough night. You know, and like it's kind of that thing where I was like, that joke? And then I was like, oh, and that word, you try and judge the intention behind it, and I don't know what the intention was. It wasn't clear, and that, you know, that's as big of an issue as the word itself.
Well, and then like sometimes the apology only makes it worse.
Well, yeah, and then it's like, well, you meant it in the moment, and no apology leads with that, right? It's like, I bless you. No apology is like, oh, I meant this in the moment, and now, you know, and now I just regret your response to it.
Right.
Happy birthday.
You're giving us so many moments. It's too good. But are you thinking about stuff for season 4? Like, are we going to get like a United episode, a fidget spinner episode?
Oh, wow,
I don't know.
Have you played with those things?
No.
I did. I got 3 of them. Yeah, all of them borrowed from my buddy. My buddy Rami just kept showing up with fidget spinners, and I would just steal them one by one. It's surprisingly satisfying.
Okay.
You know,
Good
like
to
it's
know.
like, you know, the kids aren't wrong. Kids, I mean, they suffer from boredom more than the rest of us, and if they're going around like, hey, this is occupying time, then maybe there's something to it.
So?
Maybe there's a billion-dollar industry. Okay? It's amazing the way you can make money.
I feel like we should just give you a mic and you could do stand-up right here.
Oh, I haven't done stand-up. I'm out the game.
No, you're not.
Out the game.
What about this? People want to know about your affinity for the number 8, which was also the title for your recent stand-up special.
It's so many personal connections that I don't even go into it. It's just a number that recurs at really important moments in my life, and, you know, important times, and what it represents kind of is important to me. And so the point of the special was to create something really vulnerable and honest. And, you know, with stand-up a lot of times is so big and bold, and men are very, you know, macho, even when it's not true vulnerability, and that's what we wanted to do with the special. So that 8 being so personal, and that number being so personal was why we named it that.
Was it nice?
Bo was just like, it just kind of rolled off, and Bo was like, hey, I think that's the name. I was like, I think you're right.
Was it nice being back on stage in that way?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was a very rewarding experience to share in such a intimate way, like the thoughts and perspective, and, you know, at this age where apathy is probably the worst emotion you could go through. You know, now we're in an era where feeling and expressing these feelings in such a public way is ubiquitous. To share apathy and to go through those moments of trying to care and trying to feel is very unpopular, to say the least, but I think a lot of people connected with it, and they understood where I was coming from, and you know, it's the thing I'm probably personally the most proud of is that special. You know, and working with Bo was just one of the most rewarding.
The way it was shot was very interesting too.
Oh yeah, Bo and Andrew and Chris Storr, like these guys are brilliant. I mean, I think Bo is. You know, Bo Burnham is, I think him as a director is going to be a force, a genuine force. I think I think he's brilliant.
Do you put them into different compartments of this would work
He's gonna
good?
hate if he sees this. He's gonna hate this. I mean
he
it.
better
And that's
watch
he's gonna,
this.
Yeah, but he's gonna hate it. He's gonna hate it.
But
he's gonna think it's like, why did you say? But I mean it, and it's hard to talk about your friend. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you put them into different compartments? Like this would work good on the show, or this would work good in a stand-up?
Perspective is, kind of. It's like water. It kind of fits into wherever you put it. If you feel a certain type of way, you understand the logic behind what you're saying. It works in stand-up and in television and in features, in books, and it is kind of transferable. So I don't you have certain moments where there's certain scenes that I could see that exist well in the show or exist in a feature, or you can see yourself saying something on stage, but the perspective can go anywhere.
Well, and Danielle is going to be on a ATX Festival panel about the revival of the socially conscious sitcom. Do you feel like we're in this era of a revival of that?
Yeah, I think that the good thing about people being so outspoken is I think it's starting to bleed into art, and the obligation as a creator, as a writer, as a producer, or whatever you do is to make sure that you pause and you make sure you feel this way. You're not just having this knee-jerk reaction to things. To make sure that you, even if it's gonna change, make sure that you really feel this way in the moment and you're not just getting swept up. It's really easy to kind of get swept up in a hashtag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, make sure that you feel what you're actually saying.
And do you feel like the show has sort of has settled into this groove where you know what it is? And yeah,
it's a really comfortable experience being around everyone. The cast is, I think, really comfortable with their characters. We're comfortable with each other. It's a fun environment. It's a very warm environment. It kind of feels like home, and so in all areas, the writing, Jerry Cohen, our director, is just like this guy. He knows us very well. He knows our strengths and weaknesses, and he's amazing. Everyone kind of is really settled in.
Do you find that now that you know the actors a little bit more, well, that all the writers do, that it helps you in the room determine, their voice and stuff like that, or the jokes?
Absolutely. You when writing the scripts, I do every voice. I do all the characters, just in the privacy of the writer's room in my office or whatever. Like, I act out the entire thing, and you can tell if a thing fits or doesn't. Like, I do every character, do like an impression of every character.
When did you decide?
I don't do impressions, but I do emulate all the characters on the show.
That helps you.
Yeah. It's because it's like music, and so you hear it. You can hear lulls, you can hear how someone's going to deliver a thing. And with that said, they then bring an entirely different light to it, but I kind of just do a David. Well, actually, it's funny, I do an impression of everyone except when I read Joe parts, I actually read it as my father.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I really just do my dad. Danielle kind of pointed that out to me. I didn't realize I was doing it, but like everyone else I do a Loretta impression. I do, but when I do Joe, I read it as my dad. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Is there a?
He's a showman, so he has a really specific way of talking.
Let's do it.
No, it's hard. I got to be in the moment. I don't want to ruin your birthday. Just destroy your birthday.
Just destroy it.
Everything we've built would just come crumbling down.
Come crumbling down. Is there an episode you're most proud of from season 2, or that you couldn't believe?
It really is, and I say it not just to say it, and obviously it's difficult to remain objective. It's my favorite season of television because everything that we do is personal. More than it's topical, it's personal. Everything that we do is like has real perspective in it. Someone has dealt with it, on either in the writing staff or on the crew or our director. It has some type of connection to every episode that we did, so it's fun. It's all of them are my favorite. I know it's hard. It's like
the kids.
Yeah, with kids. But although with that said, I do think parents have favorite children. I think this is harder. This is harder than choosing a child.
You could pick a favorite child, but not a favorite child.
When I'm around my nieces and my nephew, I tell them at the end of the day who my favorite is. It is a clear winner. Life is about winners and losers, and children need to learn that.
Dang. I don't even know what to do with that.
Accept it into your heart. Happy birthday.
Has Norman Lear ever been to the writer's room?
Yeah, he came by and hung out a little bit, and he came by the set.
Is that a weird thing that, like, he is your mentor, basically?
It hits you later. And, he wouldn't even say mentor. I wouldn't even say mentor.
He's friend?
He's like a friend who comes by and we talk about things.
You text?
We text.
You text
he calls
with
them
Norman.
Notes.
He calls them notes?
Yeah. He's a thinker. I think that's where we connect. A thinker, and his thoughts are often provocative, for culture. And I think we share that. And we, so it's really great, interesting conversation.
Did you run an idea from season 2 by him?
No, not really. We kind of talk about life more than, episodes.
He asks a lot of questions, right?
Yeah, he's very curious.
Yeah.
That's why I said not even mental, because he's just he's a person who knows himself, and so the best example that you could take from him or someone like him, is to be yourself.
Yeah.
It should always direct you inward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so hard to interview him because he was asking me all the questions.
Yeah,
he's like,
just like
I have
this
like
kind
one
of childlike,
quote.
curiosity.
Yeah. How about, are you able to take notes from the network now? Or are you like still
where I get in
pretending
trouble.
I don't see him?
You
had to take him for the.
I talked directly. Vernon and Lauren, Vernon Sanders and Lauren Anderson are great. They have really great minds. They really understand television, and they are interested in pushing things forward. And so we have conversations after run-throughs. I still don't do notes. I just can't receive information like that. So like notes, calls, and emails, I don't ever check. Being honest, they know that but after run-throughs, we do have conversations, and they have great insight into the potential of the show, and so I'm thankful for that. Same thing with 20th, Seckerman and Carolyn are amazing at that in the show. So it's direct, and it's more so a conversation. Then it's like notes. I think we have really great conversations.
Is there anything surprising that you found about Hollywood since doing the show, or even surprising about making a TV show?
Being a producer gets you a lot of scripts in your inbox. That's a surprise. It's a surprising number, and spec scripts and all things that you can't open.
Yeah.
And that you immediately let your lawyer know, hey, there's a thing that I didn't know that somehow found its way into my inbox.
Do you feel like being a creator during this time that you have to have multiple projects out there, that you have to have this empire?
I think that's kind of always been the case, especially as a comedian. Comedians always get the show and they want you in movies and sketches and books and all these types of things. And I think Seinfeld and Rock always talk about that. And so you always you can be stretched thin if you don't carry a perspective through. I try and do things as it feels right. There's a book idea that I've been working on and kind of pausing, and I won't.
Did you ever go to the woods? Not yet?
Not yet. I haven't had time to go to the woods. We were talking about going to the woods to write a book. Yeah, and I haven't had time to go to the woods, but I've been kind of having conversations about it and writing down ideas and being excited, but I don't force anything. It has to feel right, because people can tell. People can tell when you're putting out a book because someone gave you a book deal.
Right.
And I like to do meaningful, things, so I'm really cautious.
What advice would you give someone that maybe one of those people sending you spec scripts, but someone that's...
I really wish I could read them. I'm sure there's some really great ideas in there. I just can't legally. My hands are tied.
But what advice do you give about someone that,
I'm saying that to all my cousins right now. Stop sending me your goddamn script.
They're not your favorites. Someone that sort of wants to follow in your footsteps and have a sitcom that is socially conscious, that does go deeper into some of these issues. Like what advice do you give them about going out there
The advice would be don't listen to me. but
Did you find it a hard sell or no?
No, it's all rooted in truth, you know. And it's like if you're gonna do it, be honest with your perspective. Don't, because again, it is really easy to say, well, this is what the people want to hear, and writers, you know, have a tendency to write aspirationally the world that they want to see, which can be very interesting. But you know, if you are going to do a show like that, if it's going to touch on social things, I think the obligation should be to be a reflection, to hold up a mirror, to tell truth. And so I think that is a lot of times a thing that may be missing if someone tries to talk about something that's going on in the world. You know, it's like, well, this is how we should feel, but like, is that what you hear? Is that what you see? You know, you should travel too, you know, because there's a whole world outside of New York and LA. You know, it's a country full of people with very different views and opinions, and we get caught up in a bubble. Not just LA, because LA, there's a lot of real people in LA too, but if you're in the industry, if you're a writer, it's why you see so many you know, architects and marketing agents and stuff like that on television, is because you could tell when you've been in that bubble too long. You know, and so, that's why I wanted Blue Collar Family just speaking an honest truth that I was accustomed to hearing.
On the couch, which I
love.
love.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time.
What are you looking forward to? What episodes from season 3 are you looking forward to people seeing?
Really, I mean, it is all, because I try and pick, I was trying to pick like some favorites when you asked earlier, and it's like, you know, the N-word episode, so I don't say it too much. God damn it.
You could only say it 6 times, right?
Only 6 times, yeah. Where are we at to? I'm looking at the watch. I was like, we're gonna get. The plug's gonna get.
Are there many words that you were surprised have a limit on TV?
I
mean,
well, you
that
know,
one
funny.
seems
It wasn't
obvious.
even that. Truthfully, we asked for one. Danielle, me and Ari were writing the script. She said just write it twice. We wrote it 4 times and ended up shooting 6. So I don't even know. We should have stopped at 8 since it's a number that means a lot to me.
Yes, you should have.
Yeah. But at what point did it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, let's end things with a lightning round of questions.
Ooh. Are these, whose questions are these? These are yours?
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought we were going to go back to the internet. Let me have my King of Marvin Gardens.
Last show you binge watched?
Oh man, I'll
Don't
stop.
say infomercial.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know what? The last show, the thing I've probably seen the most episodes of is like probably like Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
The most recent show that I've like
People
watched cause I'll get behind on things, like I was up to date on Veep and I'll get behind, and you know, or Atlanta, I see all of Atlanta, if it's a miniseries like The Night Of, that type of stuff, you could watch all at once. But I'm not a big binger. I also like space between episodes. I kind of miss that. It lends itself to conversation. Because it's just weird to see someone on Friday and then like Monday morning and they're like, did you watch an entire series this weekend? And it's like, no, because I have, you know, other things. You know, other things.
Imagine being in my job.
That is insane.
It's so hard.
That is insane. That makes me feel like we're in that world that's depicted in WALL-E. Like, are we all just on rafts? Are we all just on rafts, just looking at our little screen? Like, there's a world out there.
That's your next show.
Yeah, just
the next one you pitch.
WALL-E, just making WALL-E like a reality thing.
That's your thing.
That'd be really fun.
What show that you love would you want to sit and watch someone else enjoy for the first time?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I recently had that a couple nights ago with my niece and nephew, my oldest niece and my nephew. I showed them Rugrats. They'd never seen Rugrats.
That's good.
And I showed them Doug. It was just like watching these things and watching them react. And I think it holds up because I
were
love
they into
cartoons.
it?
Yeah, they were really into it. They liked Doug. Like Doug and Rugrats were like 2 of my favorite cartoons growing up. And they were really, they were really like surprisingly adult or mature rather for what they were. They were like, the dialogue was really great. I love like the Peanuts cartoons and that type of thing where the dialogue is really, really strong and great. So I show them things like that. I'll show them Animaniacs. I'll show them like Wayne Head. I'll show them like, yeah, all types of stuff.
Who was your favorite that day then? The niece or the nephew?
My niece, because she had a better articulation of why she liked the show. And you got to reward that. And I gave her $100. And I'll do it again.
Really?
And I will do it again.
Oh my God.
Because there are winners and losers.
If you could go back and be on any classic show, what would it be?
That's a good question. The Cosby Show had, like, in later years, they had, like, where Cousin Pam came in, and they brought in a lot of, like, the inner city youth.
You'd want to be
one. You know, and I would want to be the inner city youth, because I feel like there's probably a bit more real version of it. You know what I mean? Like, but, like, because they were still like drinking crayon apple juice and stuff like that, or excited about crayon apple juice, which is, but I you know, either something like that, or I'd be on like Murphy Brown.
Ooh, good one.
Episode of Murphy Brown, that'd be good. I would love, you know, be on the Dan Quayle episode of Murphy Brown.
Oh, yes. Yeah. What genre would you like to try?
I don't know if this is a genre, but I'm always infatuated with miniseries. Mm-hmm. I love the idea of a good miniseries, because I think a lot of times shows go so much further than they need to. Like, when you run out of something to say, you should stop. That's why I like British cycles, like how they, you know, think of things like this. So anything, like a lot of ideas friends will tell me about or pitch me or something like that. Like, my first reaction is, can this be a miniseries? And then my next reaction is, okay, well, here are notes on your movie, since it has to be a movie.
Now I want you on a British miniseries.
Oh, I would love to be a British miniseries.
Walter White or Tony Soprano?
Tony Soprano.
That was like fast.
Tony Soprano's, I mean, he's the coolest. Walter White was amazing, and Cranston killed it, but Tony Soprano, yeah.
What was your first acting job, and what did you learn from that you're still using now?
I did a sketch for somebody I met at an open mic. And they couldn't use it because the audio didn't work. So I guess the advice is always check your audio.
Nice. I think we're working here. Is it working?
I know. Where's all of this was just for not. Yeah.
Well, I guess we should thank the internet for tuning in.
Hey, internet.
Hey, internet. Jerrod, thanks so much for stopping by.
I think so highly of you.
It's been a pleasure.
As a group, I like when people are groups.
This is like Facebook.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Internet,
you.
Please say happy birthday
you.
to Yvonne. Thank you very much for sharing your birthday.
Thank you for being here. And for all of you guys, if you want to see more of our Emmy contender chats, head over to latimes.com. Thanks.